Hello everyone, welcome to another epic conversation. This week I'm joined by entrepreneur Loui Blake. Incredible conversation that we had. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it also. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe and enjoy the conversation.
I was reading a lot.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to read a lot. I didn't know a lot of people there. Wasn't going out and partying so much, which I made up for later. But I wasn't really partying much, and so I had a lot of downtime. So I was reading a couple of books a week at that point. At night, I was 19 or 20, and I was seeing how the business over there was being run and learning the business side of the academy, as well as doing a lot of coaching. And so it gave me the idea that when I came back, I wanted to run my own academy.
Okay.
And so that education and kind of being inside a business and seeing how it operated, coupled with the lessons from all the books I was reading and then getting to apply the knowledge I was acquiring, meant that when I came back, I set up my first kind of football academy.
How old was you there?
20, yeah.
So at 20 to start something up like that, having a lot of responsibility in terms of developing young people, developing coaches, developing a team, developing a business structure. What was that like?
I've never taken for granted the responsibility that goes with being in a position of care for kids. Not in the sense of a position of care purely on their safety in a session, but the responsibility that often these kids are going to look up to you and want to emulate you. Do you know what I mean? So there was an element of responsibility, but I had a philosophy that I've been developing, and what had helped me being in Mexico was developing my mindset around the kind of books I was reading. So like positive reinforcement with language. I was learning about mindfulness and how thoughts affect reality, and I was learning all these concepts. And
Who
I was
told you about
into
this
my
though,
coaching? Bro? I was just reading about it. I became curious. You know?
Okay.
It seemed to me like magic.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I read a book called The Master Key System, written in the early 1900s by an author called Charles Hannell, and it talked about how the subconscious and the conscious mind and how we can create our reality via our thoughts and our emotions, and it just amazed me. And when I started putting it into practice, I started realizing all the things I was putting out was starting to manifest. That power that it gave me. And so I realized how psychologically that could relate to football, and how I could, try and steer young people in the right direction. And it's something that we put into our philosophy, and with my academy now is a big part of that program about how, incorporating mindfulness into football, I think is hugely important, not just for on the pitch, but off the pitch, and how, players and young people live in everyday lives as well.
No, it's important, man. Let's dive into that, because I'm a strong believer about, positive affirmations and things like that. Some people might get it confused, where it's just like positive thoughts, but then you're not actually applying the action to it, which we spoke a little about off air. What's your take on that in terms of, obviously positive thinking is important, having that, self-love for yourself and going forward, but without the action, do you think that those things will become reality?
No, and this is the problem with, it's like when, the book The Secret came out and everyone jumped on The Secret. That's the first stage, visualization, repeated visualization, having a clear picture in your mind of the thing you want, how it's going to look, feel, taste, whatever it might be. But it has to be paired with action. And we spoke about, I'm sure we'll come on to one of the projects I built during lockdown was the indoor football pitch we've built.
Wicked pitch, guys. And it's not just a pitch, right?
No, it's not just a pitch. We've got four 5-a-side pitches, a boxing gym, a physio, about to have a cryotherapy chamber,
wicked,
outdoor space, etc. But again, I use that as an example because at the start of lockdown, I said to my business partner Dan, we need our own facility. Our academy's reached nearly 500 players. We're at the mercy of the venue that we hire. We need to take back control. We need to future-proof our business. And I can't believe that we live in a country where it rains for seemingly 9 months of the year. And we're expecting 4 and 5-year-olds to stand and concentrate when it's raining, right? So we started looking for warehouse spaces, and I had this strong picture in my mind of what it was going to look like, how it was going to feel when I did it.
Yeah.
You know, like just I experienced it every morning when I woke up in my meditation, what it was going to be like.
Wow.
So and then that needs to be paired with action. And I think what stops a lot of people from taking action is they look at the end product and it seems so far away. They don't take the first step. But the first step might be just making a logo or registering a business on Company's House or buying a domain name on a website or calling an agent and telling them that you're looking for a space with these requirements. To put it into context, I had no idea how much this would cost. I had no idea how to lay a pitch. I had no idea on the planning regulations. I had a little bit of an idea about commercial property because I've got restaurants, but not a lot. I just knew what we wanted to do. So me and Dan sat down one day and we said, right, what are all the things we don't know? Let's make a list and then let's go on Google. Let's find someone that does know and call them.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. So we made the list and at the end of the day, we worked out how much it would roughly cost, the requirements that we would need, that legally what we'd need to do, et cetera, et cetera. And we just went to work on it. And funnily enough, we found a warehouse space about a week before the first lockdown, made a verbal agreement with the landlord that we'd take it. Lockdown happened. We assumed it was still all good. Started going out I started putting a bit of an investor pack together. Spoke to friends and family saying, this is what we're going to do. This is how I've mapped it out. This is the return, et cetera, et cetera. Do you want to get involved? Started raising some money. Went in there during lockdown to start taking some pictures for the architect. There was another person in there.
Wow.
He'd moved someone else in because he didn't think we were serious.
Okay.
So at that point, again, it's what a lot of people do. You're presented with a hurdle. Turn back, stop, lose the idea. So I don't judge anything as good or bad when it happens because you don't have the context. You don't have the full picture. I said, this is happening maybe to test our nerve, maybe because this isn't the right space and something better is going to come up. Lo and behold, a week later, the landlord calls us. Sorry, guys, but I've got another space. It's nearby. It's got a huge car park that comes with it. It's been recently vacated, so all the electrics and stuff are up to date, and it's the same price. That's the unit we took. At this point, we paid the deposit. We still didn't have enough money to fit it all out. We just knew it was going to happen. But momentum, the energy of having the momentum creates action. And then when people started seeing what we were doing, raising the money was easy. I've now turned people down as it got on because people come, can I invest? I'm like, now we're done. And they're starting to see it come to life. And I walk in there now, you've got like an 18,000 square foot indoor football facility. Like, this is exactly what I saw.
Wow.
It's exactly the way I saw it.
So you actually envisioned
exactly how I saw it.
Wow.
Exactly how
powerful.
I saw it. And I think this is something that, and there's little strategies you can do. You can make things like make vision boards. You can write it out what it's going to be. But I think it's important to have an idea of where you want to be in order to get there, or you can wander around lost, you know. But it's also important to make that idea of where you want to be actually what you want and not compensate based on your immediate reality. And that's what a lot of us do. We look at our immediate reality and what we really want seems too far out of reach. Do you know what I mean? So we lower our expectation to based on what seems within our reach, but then that's not trusting the process and having trust in what could happen. And that's why, you know, a lot of us don't ever go out and do what we want to do.
No, that's powerful.
And the effect of doing it and the result compounds over time. So I was able to have that strength of vision and to see it through because historically I've done it again and again and again. The first time was hard. The first time is, but then you've done it once and you know you can do it. And so
what happened the first time, Loui? Tell them what happened the first time.
The first time I set up this football academy. And it started working. I was like, oh, wow, this is good. What else do I like doing? Like going out and getting drunk. So let me start doing student. Let me throw a party.
Okay, so you flipped it on his head now. It's not just socializing.
Yeah. So when I started the first football academy, I was 20.
Okay.
I moved back to Norwich, set up this football academy. Started going really well, but it was daytime, you know, and I was grafting. I was going out, putting on free sessions, going into schools, doing everything I could do to make it work. And in the evenings, when I've been living in Mexico, I was partying quite a lot.
Okay, as you would.
Few of my friends were playing. So when I was back in the UK, I'd go down to London to see them and go out. Norwich, there wasn't really a nightlife scene at that point. And a new nightclub had opened, and I went to the guy that ran it and said, I want to do a party here. I want to charge entry at the door.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the uplift in revenue on the bar. Let's do a deal. He was like, cool, let's see what you can do. So I did a Wednesday night, charged everyone a £5, hundreds of people turn up.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, wow, this is another little business.
Yeah.
And then over time, did that for a while and took that across the country, got into different cities doing that. And then bought a nightclub. And then we had our own club.
Okay.
And then I did another one. And, you know, you just...
It's the momentum that you said.
The momentum.
It's
the momentum.
Once you're in it,
your self-belief grows because you start to trust yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You start to trust yourself. And to be honest, that was the point where I started coming away from football a little bit, because I kind of fell out of love with it.
Okay.
At that point.
Talk to us about that. What
I became a little bit, I think this happens to, well, it certainly was my experience, that when you start to be successful, my reason for going into football is because I wanted to do something that I loved, and I wanted to do something that I felt I could add value to other people. Yeah. And that was what football was for me. It was a way for me to give value and to enjoy my work, to wake up every day and not feel like I was going to work. The nightclubs were great fun. It was socializing and being out with people, but it started to become about the money. Okay. And I learned a lot about myself in that experience, because I realized how insecure I was and how much I didn't really like myself. Okay. And so when I was started to make money, I became less interested in the football, which was a longer term project and wasn't really making me any money, and became really interested in partying and having money, and then using that money to validate myself in the eyes of other people by buying all the clothes I thought were cool and having the cars I thought were cool, and trying to, you know, keep up them social appearances so that other people would think good things of me. Yeah. And that can only go on so long. I got to 25 and just crashed and burned. I was burnt out. I was ill. I had chronic fatigue. Okay. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. And I looked around. I was like, everything I thought I wanted, I've now got. And I don't like myself. I don't like what I'm doing. And that was the catalyst for me to make a big change. And at that point, I was really unhealthy. I didn't look unhealthy. I think this is an interesting thing, because where you're young, you've got a fast metabolism, maybe you're going to the gym, you're playing sport, you might look healthy on the outside, but on the inside, you've got low energy, you might have bad skin, you know, you can't wake up in the morning, you know, you're in a bad mood. You know, these are all other signs away from just being overweight that are a sign of, or a symptom of being unhealthy. And so at that point, I was on Google. I was like, all right, what can I do? Being the inquisitive person I am, what can I do to feel better? And it kept coming up. The consistent things I saw was an increase in natural foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, etc. A decrease in processed foods. So I should try and eat foods as close to their original state as you can. Food is data. So our DNA knows how to speak to the structure of food, and that food is our energy for our body to repair and maintain. If you eat food that's removed from its original state, the further removed it is, the more processed it is, the more toxic it is for your body. So I started to understand this. Decrease in sugar, decrease in in anything processed. Obviously, decrease in alcohol is a big help as well. Anything in excess, decrease in that. Sleeping properly. Going back to the mindfulness practices that I developed earlier in my life that I'd let go of. Taking care of my body again. And I actually went plant-based. Okay. So vegan. So I stopped eating meat, fish, dairy, eggs. I started eating loads of leafy greens, lots of fruit, lots of legumes, beans, alternative protein sources. Mate, in a month, all of my energy came back. Wow. I was waking up early. I was going to the gym again. My recovery when I went to the gym was faster. I felt like I had more energy. I felt stronger. My mind was clearer. You know, and life just got better. And at that point, when I went down the rabbit hole of the impact of industrial animal agriculture on the planet, how we grow enough food to feed the entire world's population 11 times over, but 25,000 people a day die of starvation. Wow. And the reason is because we grow all of this food, but it goes towards feeding animals that we can then eat. So there's a huge mismanagement of the economies of food where, you know, we're destroying the planet with all of this crop cultivation and destroying animal habitats and ocean dead zones and all this other stuff that's going on, but also we're poisoning ourselves in the process.
Yeah.
And by default, people that need food aren't getting it. So I learned all of this. I was like, right, I need to change what I'm doing. I need to try and popularize this way of eating because we've got a growing global population that is impossible to feed with a Western diet. We need to shift towards a plant-based lifestyle.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I think the barriers are that it's not deemed credible, it's not convenient, it's expensive, it's not cool, and it's hard. People don't know how to do it.
Yeah, very hard.
I started to make it my mission, I guess.
Yeah.
To do that, and so started. I left my business at that time. I had an agency. I had a recruitment company. Both working in hospitality. Been in hospitality since I was doing the nightclub stuff, and then set up a restaurant in my home city. Moved back to my home city. 27 years old, tail between my legs. Moved back in with my parents at 27.
What was that like, bro? Let's touch on that.
Humbling. Yeah. Humbling, but I didn't care. I was like, you know what? My mindset had shifted again. I went back to reading hard, doing my mindfulness practices in the morning and connecting with people that weren't people I was trying to impress or be around for social reasons, but people that I had a connection with that made me better, you know? Yeah. And then I didn't care. I signed a lease for a restaurant. Didn't have the money to do it. Raising money from friends and family again, painted the vision, opened the restaurant, all plant-based, the UK's largest plant-based restaurant. And
that's a big achievement, bro. Can't just skip past that like that.
Yeah, no, it was
a huge achievement.
It's we've now got 3 of those. One in Brighton, one in Edinburgh.
That's amazing, man.
Opening, the one in Norwich is still going.
Yeah.
I moved back to Norwich and opened this restaurant, and then I rediscovered football.
Okay.
My love for football. My best mate is from Norwich as well. He's playing pro. He'd just moved from Norwich to Preston at the time.
Okay.
Me and him had a chat, and we're like, why do we produce no players from Norwich? It's weird. Like, we're a massive city, and there's hardly any players that come from Norwich.
Yeah.
Locally, there's very little competition. You're either in the academy at the club or you play Sunday league. There's nothing really in between.
Okay.
If you live in London, you've got a multitude of clubs you can play for at academy level.
Yeah.
And then in between academy level and Sunday grassroots, you've got independent academies, training programs. There's none of that in Norwich.
Okay.
So we set up our own academy. So we set up this academy, which is still going today, which we'll talk about. So I was doing the academy in the daytime, which gave me the purpose of working with the kids again, rediscovering that, that joy in work and health and promoting healthy living, and then going to the restaurant in the evenings and promoting healthy food. And it got me back on track.
Wow. Bro, you touched on a lot there, which...
Yeah. Sorry, I went...
No. I love that. No, I love that. That's the thing about it. But I don't want to skip past some of the things that you said. First and foremost, like the mindset to keep going, even when sometimes, like you said, at the age of 27, you went back home. A lot of people, ego kicks in, pride kicks in. I'm not doing that. I'm not going back to my mum's. I'll have to go and do whatever I need to do to kind of still maintain that sort of level of appearance to others. Because a lot of us, we do tend to do that sometimes, you know, like you said, showing others, I've got the cars, I've got the, clothes, etc., blah, blah, blah. Opening up businesses and also making sure that others are not making sure, but others are on board as well. It's not just you. You're not going by yourself. You're not going on the train by yourself to success. You're bringing others along as well, which is highly important.
How beautiful is it?
The best.
I want to share a little story if I can.
Please, of course you can.
So we set up Future Football Elite in early 2018.
Yeah.
And Deck was playing at Preston. I was in Norwich. So I was running a day today.
Okay.
And again, I'd had a lot of success in my previous businesses. I was in London. I was in, first class flights to the state, all the stuff I was doing, right?
Living large.
Coming back to Norwich, living with my parents. And all of a sudden, mate, I'm putting on 3 sessions for under 6s. I'm on the pitch. I'm delivering again. I fell back in love with football, but it was humbling to do that. But anyway, I built this business. I was doing trial sessions, all ages, doing little kids, like 3 and 4 year olds. And
not easy.
And then I was doing that. In the morning, I go to the restaurant, set up for the day, maybe 7, 8 in the morning. I go to football. I then go back to the restaurant and work the restaurant till whatever time at night, 7 days a week. And I wasn't paying myself from either business.
Wow.
So I put all the money in the world I had left into both businesses with a little bit on the side to live off, just to buy food.
You have to.
And I was just going to work in both for no pay.
Wow.
Built the business over 6 months to the point where it was starting to wipe its own mouth. But me and Dec put some money in at the start, but it was starting to wipe its own mouth. And then one of my mates who I'd worked at Norwich with when I was 18, I approached him and said, he was running their player development centre, coaching at their academy.
Yeah.
I said to him, I told him at the start I wanted him to come work. And he said, get it to a level where you can afford to pay me and I'll come on. Went to him. You met Dan in Juventus.
Yeah.
Dan comes on board, takes a lot of the pressure off me. I go back into the restaurant, spend longer in the restaurant, start building the business. Dan comes on board. Dan took a big risk. 3 kids, mortgage, a business that's 6 months old and isn't making any money yet.
Yeah.
Took a big risk to join us. But doing it with Dan and Dec made it so much more enjoyable than doing it by myself. And businesses should be fun.
Yeah.
You should love it. You know, we could do anything. All of us can do anything we want to do. Choose something that you love to do. It makes it easy when it's hard. It makes them getting up at whatever time in the morning and, you know, doing all the bits which you have to do. It makes them enjoyable doing it with other people that you have shared values with. And what I love was that we had a lad come on board with us when he was 16, and I saw a lot of myself in him because he didn't want to get paid. He wanted to come and learn, and he coached with me, and he was my assistant coach. He'd do anything I asked him to do. Not taking the mick, but he was learning, right? Helped him do his level 1, helped him come on board. I moved back to London last year, and when I moved back to London 2 years ago, he stepped up, became Dan's number 2.
Okay.
I stepped aside from the business a little bit, really helped Dan. When we opened the arena, and all through this year, he's been there. He's been doing Zoom sessions every day. He's been in the business. He's just turned 20.
Okay. Still young.
I said to Dan, our business is worth a bit now. We're now franchising. We've got big, but I think he's played a massive role. Brought him in and made him a shareholder in the business.
Beautiful.
So now he's involved as well, right? And we're doing it together.
Yeah.
When we opened the arena, I said to Dan as well, let's say to him, come in on the arena, go to your family. Here's how to present it to them.
Yeah.
Here's what to say. Come in as a partner on this as well. So now something's gone from the journey of volunteering at 16 to being a partner in 2 businesses at the age of
20.
Just turned 20.
Wow. That's amazing.
But for me, that's one of the most rewarding things about doing it, is helping people on this journey, but you've got to show up in the first place. You know, and I'm seeing business as a tool. All businesses should be a tool to add value to the world. And that value should extend beyond the people that use your business as customers. It should be the people that are working within that business as well. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. I think that's the only way to make a business work. It has to be win-win-win. Customers have to win. People at work, they have to win. Partners have to win. And ultimately, the world has to win. It can't. It's not a business. It's not a sustainable business if your customers win, your shareholders win, your workers win, but the environment loses. That's not a sustainable business, because we need that as well.
That food chain, isn't it? Everyone's got to work together for it to work. So it's important, man. But bro, where's the mindset coming from to do all of this? Because I'm a firm believer of, you know, the childhood experiences, you know, they do come along to your adulthood. What was growing up like for you to get to this mindset?
Do you know what? I think my parents were always very encouraging of anything we wanted to do. They'd allow us to pursue our curiosities. Okay. So I'm one of them kids that did every sport. Okay. Played football, played basketball, did karate, did boxing, did Thai boxing, did whatever I wanted to do. There was room for me to go and learn it. And I think we're probably the last generation that every day after school played outside until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, don't happen no more.
Don't happen no more, right? So I think there was a curiosity from that. I didn't really have anything massive happen. When I was 16, one of my best friends, a lad that I'd grown up with since primary school, got killed. Wow. And I was standing next to him when it happened. Wow. We were involved in an incident, and as a result, he was killed. And it gave me this like sense of morality. I was like, wow, that's how quick life's done. And it was such a pivotal point, because we'd just left school. We were 16, just left school. And I knew I was thinking about going to football. I was thinking, do I go uni? Because I don't know what I want to do. Yeah. And it just solidified for me. Life's so short. I'm going to every day do something that I love doing. It really gave me that that mindset to think life's really short.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste anything. I don't want to do anything I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and live by that mantra. And that was a big catalyst for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You talking about losing a friend at that age, that's quite close to home for me as well, because I lost 2 friends at a young age actually. First one when we was what? I think it was 15. I think that's the first time that someone close to home like that passed away. And I think, you know, growing up, that's always been on my mind as well. Like at that age, how did you handle that? Do you know what I mean? Like there wasn't really much support to say, how you doing today? Like, you know, you was there actually, do you know what I mean? So was there anyone that worked with you in terms of just to see how you're doing? Because maybe those things that you was doing where you said you wasn't loving yourself, you was drinking too much, you know, do you think those events that happened at that age might have caught up at that age, at the older age, because you didn't really tackle it as much, because there wasn't awareness for it to tackle it?
No, I agree. I think there's a lot that goes on now. I feel for young people now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of influences, external influence outside of our control that make life difficult. You know, you've only got to look at the statistics. You can feel it, but the statistics back it up, right? You've got an epidemic of mental health, particularly amongst young men, because our culture glorifies and financially rewards negative traits. You know, it's in popular culture, it's in music, it's in popular influencers being influenced by the wrong things. And that's why I said to you off air, it's cool to not care about what you eat. Do you know what I mean? It's cool to be disrespectful in certain ways. It's glamorized. It's glamorized to prioritize like certain fashion items over anything. Do you know what I mean? We're prioritizing the wrong things, and we're stigmatizing things which potentially are
not good enough. Not good for us.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's part of that. I think that I was caught in a cultural kind of obsession with like showing off and Instagram and wanting to be seen in a certain way. And it's impossible to be constantly competing with other people in that sphere.
It's a 24-hour job, mate, when you do that.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
In terms of how the experience of losing a friend happened, I don't think it wasn't something that I ever spoke about at that time. You know, it's kind of like people don't really know how to approach you with it. Do you know? I wouldn't know how to approach someone that had happened to. So there wasn't really an outlet. But I think that it made me very obsessed with work. I wanted to achieve something. Do you know what I mean? And so I used football and using coaching football. I had this thing. I wanted to be the best football coach I could be. So I threw myself into it. And then I wanted to be the best at business I could be, or the best entrepreneur I could be. And then over time, I think, well, I'm 31 now.
Okay, still young.
Over the last few years, it's really been about how can I use the skills that I have? How can I be self-aware enough to recognize the skills that I have, to use it to grow myself, to work on myself, and to help benefit other people? But I think running around wanting to change the world, you can't do that until you change yourself. You got to start. It starts with you, and if collectively we all work on ourselves, culturally we'll grow, because we are a collection of individuals, right?
For sure, man. And I think I'm bouncing around a little bit because I don't think this episode is enough to cover what you're doing, bro. Like, honestly, you're doing so much. No, for real, bro. Like, you're doing so much positive work. Like I said to you off air, if I grew up looking at someone like yourself and understanding that, you know what, there's actually another side to this, creating your own destiny in a way, because you have, do you know what I mean? You're working on your own terms. You're not going to a traditional 9 to 5, which there's nothing wrong with it. You know, that's all part of it. Like, I've seen my mum and my dad go through that themselves, but I also seen the other side, that it doesn't make people happy because you're actually giving your time away to others. And, you know, there's been times where my mum hasn't seen me play football because she's been at work. Do you know what I mean? Or there's been like an assembly play, for instance, and my parents couldn't come because they're at work. Do you know what I mean? So for you to do that, me growing up, I've always been the man that's like, I don't want to go to work. Do you know what I mean? I want to make sure I create my own lane. I'll create my own destiny. And just seeing someone like yourself, like if I was a younger person, I want to know more. if for instance, a young person now listening to this or watching this, what's the first thing that you would advise for them to do if they have that mindset of, I want to get into entrepreneurship?
I think you have to know yourself.
Okay.
You really have to spend time getting to know yourself. And what I mean by that is to understand, what do you actually want? Because a lot of young people say, I want money.
Yeah.
But why do you want money?
Yeah.
Why? Money might be the way to what you want.
Yeah.
But it's not the end product.
Mm-hmm.
And money's infinite. If you desire money, you're always going to be chasing something. So it's understanding, what do I actually want? Is it freedom?
Yeah.
Is it freedom to be able to go and do what I want during the day?
Yeah.
You know, understand what you actually want first and foremost. I think the thing for me was having a set of values which would guide my decision making. So to decide what I wanted to do, it has to tick these boxes. Do you know what I mean? I have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
I have to feel like I'm adding value. I have to add value to other people. Has to make me enough money to compensate my time and give me the freedom where I can live where I want to live, do what I want to do. It has to tick these boxes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So having a set of values is really helpful. But I think for young people, just go out and do lots of different things, because you don't really know until you start doing.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with working for someone. I think there's loads of different ways to live. Like, the entrepreneurship is really glamorized in our culture, but it's not for everyone because it's hard. There's been times where there's been times where I can't afford to go and buy a sandwich.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can go from having 100 grand in your account to having 50 pence in a matter of months. Like,
how do you deal with that mentally though, bro?
You just got to trust the process.
Because it's easy to say, I'll give up. Let me go and get 9 to 5.
The number one skill or attribute you can develop as an entrepreneur is resilience.
Yeah.
Is resilience. Do you know, and just to keep going. And that comes back to working on yourself. So what that looks like in a day-to-day practical sense for me is every morning having a morning routine.
Okay.
Waking up early, meditation, stretching, saying my mantras that I've got, having a cold shower. So I do something
that as well,
something that I don't want to do first thing in the day.
Yeah.
If I can get myself to do that first thing in the morning, everything else is easy.
Okay.
Having that little morning routine, that's my anchor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then having a clear vision of what I want to go and do, and having something that I can work towards. And if you're young, find someone that's doing what you want to do and reach out to them. Can I help you? Can I shadow you? Can I help you? Can I do something for you?
Yeah.
Or study them? Do you know what I mean? You've got so much time. Like, I see my 20s now as just a series of 20s. Just is a write off.
It's trial and error, isn't it?
Just make mistakes.
Trial and error.
Mate, I must have had 12 businesses in my 20s.
Oh, bro.
12, like start, fail, fail. But they're all them lessons. Like, it doesn't matter. No. And you think people care. Yeah. No one cares what you're doing. No one cares. When you fail, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you shouldn't be precious about failing, because actually no one cares. They might think about how you think about other people, maybe for a second, then you don't. That's how people think about you.
That's true. That's a good way to
put it. It literally doesn't matter. Like, I'd be just be curious, try lots of different things, find what you like, and then find someone that's really good at it. Study it, learn it. Good to have a job doing it. Learn it on someone else's money. Yeah. Learn it on someone else's money. On the flip side, there's a value to being inexperienced, because you don't carry with you the way it's always been. You have a fresh set of eyes sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like me going into restaurants, didn't have a clue, but I found what I know now about how restaurants traditionally operate. There was inefficiencies in the model that I didn't know because I hadn't studied under someone in a restaurant, or I hadn't worked in a restaurant. So I did things from a fresh perspective. So I think have a diversity of experience.
And it's not just for young people as well. It's for anyone, any age really. You can go into something new at any age. Like what we spoke about, in terms of like the arena that you guys open. It wasn't necessarily an industry that you knew about, how to acquire an Astro pitch, for instance. You know what I mean? So it could be any age groups, man. And talking about food as well, because I don't want to skip past that. I think that's a huge part of us human beings. What we intake. It's like a car, put bad petrol in a car, eventually it's going to break down. Same thing with us. And I think that the thing about it, when people hear plant-based or vegan, they just think of green salads. plain green salads, not seasoned or anything like that. I remember my journey. I've recently just started eating chicken again. But I had a point for about 3 years where same thing, I felt bad, like I felt lazy, I just felt tired. And I started doing, plant-based. I started eating more, cut out dairy, cut out cheese, etc. I felt a lot better. It's only since I've come back to London, I've been eating a bit more chicken, but we can go past that anyway. We can go past that. But just going back to what I was saying, when people just think about vegan food or plant-based, they just think it's all green. You've opened up, it's Floozy?
It's one of our brands.
One of the brands. Yeah. Let me get Floozy. Like, let's get that in the camera as well, which we'll promote it anyway. In this link description, everything like that. And it's cookies. Do you know what I mean? It's cookies that are they? There's not dairy as such.
No, they're 100% vegan.
There you go.
I think vegan
doesn't
necessarily mean healthy.
Perfect word there, right there.
So there's a distinction between the diet that I follow is a whole food plant-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's natural foods. It's it's fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, legumes, proteins like tempeh from beans, tofu, etc. Vegan is you can eat anything that doesn't contain animal products.
Okay.
But what I recognize as part of my mission to, as I said, to normalize and to make accessible plant-based food is you need to provide a bridge for people. So I want to give an opportunity for people that if they love a burger, they can get a vegan version that tastes just as good, if not better, doesn't leave them bloated afterwards, and costs the same.
Okay.
But in the process of doing that, it uses significantly less water, has way less CO2, doesn't damage the planet, nothing has to die for it, and nutritionally it delivers a better outcome. Having the cookies, for example, gives people a way to if they want to indulge, and again, everything in balance. 80% of my diet's great, 20%, I have fun because it's life, right? So if you want to eat a cookie, great, but you can do so without eating dairy, without, a lot of people are dairy intolerant anyway. And so I think plant-based is a great diet, but it's also not fixed. It's like you can be, just because you don't have to be all or nothing. You can be flexy, It's just, I think the diet I see a lot of the kids that come to football, and I see a lot of my peers don't eat any or very few natural foods, very few, and that's where all your vitamins, your minerals, your nutrients come from. So it's trying to incorporate more plant-based foods into the diet, which we're going to benefit from for longevity, for health, for wellness, general well-being. Particularly with what's happened over the last year, it's been highlighted how important health is. You see the difference in people that are obese when they have COVID against those that aren't. It says a lot.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think it was I don't know if it's Dr. Sebi or someone else, but they said they don't use the word diet anymore. They use the word live it, because with a diet it's like die it, so it's kind of like you're killing yourself. But they were saying more so we use the term live it, which was interesting for me as well. Like, again, going back to the words that we use. Obviously, we use certain words because that's what's been told to us.
Mate, let's talk about this.
Do you know what I mean?
Let's talk about this, please.
Let's go into it.
So, when you're growing up, in our culture, if you say I'm really good at that as a kid, what happens to you?
You get told that you're over, like you're big-headed,
arrogant. So we never right, but on a molecular level, words are energy. You've seen the Japanese water experiment, right? With the impact on words on water, the molecular structure of water changes based on positive or negative words. So we are 70 to 8% water. So you use positive language on your own body, you're gonna get a positive outcome. And you say it's woo-woo, but you can go and look. You can look it up. But it also makes sense if every day we're trained culturally to be humble and to disregard ourselves. And beyond that, to talk badly about ourselves. I'm not very good at that. I'm not very good at that. I'm not very good at that. So it's about reframing the words that we use and to not be mindful of where other people are going to be uncomfortable with us talking about how good we are. You can do it in a way that isn't arrogant. You can do it in a way where I'm really good at long range passing.
Yeah.
I'm working on my dribbling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm improving every day. I'm getting better. It's different to
I
saying
like that.
my long range passing is decent, but my dribbling is terrible.
Yeah.
What message are you sending to your body? And then
Yeah.
you're putting yourself in a mindset where next time you go and dribble a ball where you're not going to be good at it.
Yeah.
So language is such an
It's a powerful tool, man. It's just what we put out there is what we project.
You
You know
speak
what I mean?
things into existence.
Yeah.
It's again with the arena or with anything I'm trying to do. I say it out loud. I tell people I'm doing this.
Bro, man.
I'm doing this. And people used to look at me like I was nuts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna build an indoor football pitch. People
Yeah,
are like, yeah, all right.
So you actually say it to people.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Same with the restaurants. I'm like, I'm gonna build a restaurant.
Okay.
You know, and it can be at the start it puts you off when people laugh at you or say you can't do it.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's like,
oh, you actually did it.
Yeah.
Wow, bro, that's powerful, man. That's powerful. Right. I think we're gonna wrap things up a little bit because we can go on for days, bro. we
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I can see, but I'm comfortable as well. I'm comfortable, but we're definitely gonna have to do a part 2 and come to the arena as well.
Mate, we should do a part 2 at the arena.
Yeah. I definitely would come up there and
we've got a little studio set up going in there
wicked,
as well.
wicked. So we can definitely bring the equipment over and do something there. But before we wrap things up, obviously we've been in a the world's been in a certain situation which we all know. What's the best lesson that you've learned during this time?
Yeah, it's a really good one. You know, one of my mantras at the moment is love is more powerful than fear.
Talk on that.
And I've got a little whiteboard on my wall, and I write whatever my mantra is at the moment on that. And I see it when I wake up. I see it when I get ready. Love is more powerful than fear. And what I did at the start of the pandemic was, and I think we look through a lens when we look at things, right? We can look through the lens of fear, or we look through the lens of love and belief and all them that powerful way of thinking. Yeah. And I just opened a restaurant in Brighton 2 days before the lockdown. Okay. 6 months in the build up, blood, sweat, tears, money. Open for 2 days, shut. My immediate response was fear. What if this? What if this? What if this? What if this? And I read something along these lines, love is more powerful than fear. And it stuck with me. I'm like, what if I looked at this through the lens of love and the lens of like the possibility and just reframed it? And now every time I have a negative thought come up, or I think, oh, should I buy that? Maybe I can't quite, or should I go for that? Maybe I could look through the lens. Yeah. Love is more powerful than fear. And it comes up, cool, I'm going to go for it. And trying to bring that into every situation. We all have this internal dialogue. You go into a meeting, we're programmed to be negative. We're programmed to be pessimists because that was a survival mechanism where the saber-tooth tiger's around the corner. It was a matter of life or death. It was within our interest to be pessimistic. We had to check everywhere just in case. There ain't no saber-tooth tigers now, but we've kept that way of thinking, right? Yeah. So it's having to train myself to look through that lens of positivity and love and remind myself of that mantra. And this year, that's been an amazing transformation for me because since doing that, business, life, wellness has all gone up multiple levels since I've had that approach. And so I think having that mantra, sticking that whiteboard on my wall, writing these things to myself, something that I've incorporated into my life this year, and it's been an absolute game changer. And everyone's going to have a mantra that speaks to them differently. But I think having that visually as a cue in your space is has been a game changer.
Bro, that's powerful, man. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. Like, honestly, it's a breath of fresh air just to hear someone talk the way you talk, positively as well. The way you conduct yourself, what you're doing in the world. And like I said, it's not just entrepreneurship. You're bringing other people along with you as well. Like you said, the young man that's working with you, who would have thought at the age of 20, he's actually got shares in a company. And to be in company of the likes of yourself and your partners, because I'm sure he's learned tons and tons of knowledge working with you guys. We'll definitely put the link in the description of everything, the arena, check out the restaurant. I'll be going there soon as well. Don't worry about that. Do some tasting. But yeah, no, bro, honestly, wish you the best of luck. You don't need me to tell you that. I'm sure you're going to be smashing it. So
enjoyed it.
I really loved it. So guys, remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, share it with anyone that you feel like it's going to benefit them. I'm sure it's going to benefit a lot of people. It's giving me that ounce of energy again, honestly, and a motivation to go out there and get it, man. So appreciate it. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in, and we'll catch you soon.